Steel Wheels on WNCW, where you're playing all my favorite tunes from the new record. I love that, Find Your Mountain.
Oh, thanks.
And yeah, a couple of mountain tunes in there, including one of a couple instrumentals that shows up on this new release, Leave Some Things Behind. The Mountains Quake, and then Find Your Mountain. And yeah, one thing I love about you guys is how whatever sound the mountains make in as translated into music, if that makes any sense, you capture it.
Oh.
Somehow, you know, the old time mountain music traditions, the undulating nice flow of the Blue Ridge Mountains that you all live amongst up north there in Rockingham County area.
Yeah.
It shows in the music.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I moved to Virginia. I'm not a native Virginian, and I do think sometimes when you come to a place new like that, you appreciate some of those things in a different way. Not to say more than people who've grown up there, but I lived in Kansas before I came to Virginia. So
the mountains are a little smaller there.
Yeah, mountains are things we've heard of, or things we go west and see in Colorado.
Yeah.
But no, it was so striking. I remember the first time coming to the Valley, and it really made an impact on me. And yeah, I think it's continued to make an impact on me, and it comes into the music as well.
Yeah, I was just driving through there earlier this week. Wednesday, driving through down Shenandoah Valley, waved to you as I drove by.
Oh, that was nice of you. Yeah,
JMU.
I remember that.
You remember? Yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
zooming by. And you know, this I got to ask. This week, this month has been a lot of anniversaries for the Civil War, 150th anniversary.
Right.
Lots of stuff culminating. And I'm a history geek, history major and stuff. I was somehow into it, but the Virginia area is really rich in all that. Appomattox's big anniversary was yesterday, and all. Does that kind of history wind its way into some of your songs?
I don't know. I think one of the ways that history was interwoven with me coming to this music, I spent a couple years down at a theater in Lexington, Virginia, called Theater at Limekiln. And at that time, every summer, I was mostly doing acting at that time, and every summer they would do a musical called Stonewall Country. And it was sort of this historical musical about Stonewall Jackson, who had also lived in Lexington and has a lot of history throughout all of Virginia. But the musical, all the music was written by Robin and Linda Williams, who now we've become friends with and we know well. But I remember very vividly that first year of being, I was cast as the Barefoot Soldier, and that was my role. And the one thing the Barefoot Soldier really did was have this one song that I think Robin and Linda must have written. It was a cappella, and it was just haunting. This haunting song about deserting the troops because not having shoes on my feet and not having any food to eat, and I only joined to begin with because I was guaranteed a gun and some food, and that was basically it. And then the song ends, and there's a gunshot, and it goes black. That's the end of the Barefoot Soldier. But that summer for me, living right there in Lexington, Virginia, playing that music, feeling some of that, it definitely affected me. And that was right at the beginning, the genesis of this band. So I will say that certainly has its way, kind of in some of the roots of us getting into this music.
Okay, yeah. And this album, like you say, is just being released now. It's probably too early to ask about what might be down the road next for you, but this one kind of a theme of Exodus. Are you putting your thoughts together on what the next project might focus on?
Yeah, we've talked about a lot of ideas. We have lots of ideas. It's a little think tank in that van. We talked about doing a kids album before. We talked about doing all these covers albums. I had talked about, I had a project starting. I wrote a couple songs that, I don't know, probably shouldn't talk about it because it's still secret, but it hasn't gone anywhere yet. But actually, it was talking in part about Mennonites. I come from a Mennonite background in the Shenandoah Valley, and what did they do during the Civil War time, which is a really fascinating thing because Mennonites typically are nonviolent, and yet back in those days, it wasn't maybe as simplified across the board that everybody was on the same page. And so some of the interesting stories that come out of that time, and the Valley was a very bloody place in the war. So there's some of those stories I'm really fascinated by right now that I've been interested in seeing if we could write songs to and see where that goes.
Cool.
But
all right.
Who knows? There's lots of different projects. Yeah. So.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Brian's solo bass record. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. Cool. So Steel Wheels on WNCW. Want to talk in a little bit about the big festival that you do up there.